Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to This is Floxed on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. This is Floxed is dedicated to raising awareness for fluoroquinolone toxicity syndrome, which is also known as being floxed. This means that a person is experiencing the adverse effects of a fluoroquinolone antibiotic like Cipro, levofloxacin, and many others. Today we will be discussing neuroplasticity and brain retraining. Now, for those that have mast cell activation or MCAS, you'll probably be aware of these terms already, as they are one of the key pillars of MCAS treatment. And if this is the case, you've probably also heard of the Gupta program, Primal Trust, DNRS, Joe Dispenza, etc., which are all brain retraining programs. However, in the Floxed community, this type of program is drastically underutilized. In fact, many communities shy away from brain retraining because it may give the impression that their illness is all in their head. And after years of chronic illness, being gaslit by the medical system, and actually being told that their illness is all in their head, you can understand why people will feel that way. However, today's show is going to debunk these myths and explain what brain retraining really is, what it is not, how you can benefit from retraining, and how it is used as a complement to and not a replacement of your current medical treatment. In my experience, for those that follow me, you'll hear me say I don't think you can heal from MCAS without brain retraining, but I feel the same exact way about those of us that are floxed. We have so much trauma and our nervous system is so dysregulated from the fluoroquinolone antibiotic that we desperately need this kind of retraining. And a trauma of this magnitude requires more than just physical healing. Today, my special guest is Dr. Kathleen King, a physical therapist who is founder and CEO of Primal Trust. After a decade of her own battle with debilitating health issues like chronic Lyme, chronic fatigue syndrome, mold toxicity, PTSD, and a host of other challenges, she was able to free herself. Dr. Kat unlocked her own healing through neuroplasticity-based methods as she created Primal Trust Academy and the community. Her focus is to help people with self-healing from chronic illness and trauma patterns. And this is all available through her online worldwide platform. Everyone is always asking me what has helped me on my healing journey. Well, this is one of those things. It's not a medication and it's not a supplement. I've done a lot of these programs, but Primal Trust has helped me the most. And so with that being said, I'd like to welcome my special guest, Dr. Kat.
Hello, thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being here. I've been looking forward to this for a while now. So yeah, thank you. I figure the best way to kick off the show is just to tell us your background and your story and what happened and how you ended up creating Primal Trust.
Yeah, well, as I think it'd be great to share what I surprised you with, that my whole illness began after taking 4 rounds of Cipro when I was in South America in 2003. I had multiple gut parasite type infections and they just kept prescribing Cipro. Within 6 weeks, I was completely bedbound with severe dysautonomia, fatigue, couldn't walk, had to be medevac back to the States. I slowly recovered to a point And then a handful of years later, I was prescribed Cipro again before when I had a UTI. And it was within a few weeks of taking that I went back into bedbound, and I basically stayed bedbound, housebound for many years. Did not know it was because of Cipro until a doctor had identified that was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, I was also in stressful relationships. I had tested positive for Lyme. I was living in a moldy environment. And so really the Lyme and the mold train kind of took over. But I did have a doctor years later say, I think Cipro may have been one of the final straws for you and why your system couldn't recover. So from there, I slowly learned about nervous system work and brain retraining and trauma healing, even though I had physical issues, and was able to crawl out of my chronic illness. And now I lead thousands all over the world how to do the same in Primal Trust.
Yeah, that was definitely a shock. You said you took Cipro. I said, oh, she's a closet Floxy, because nobody knows that she's Floxed. But this is a big question that I've received since, advertising for our interview, like, we're Floxed, we're poison. So the fact that you are Floxed too, and you got the trifecta, as we call it, mold, Lyme, being Floxed, is even more of a reason for people to feel confident in this program, because you're definitely more than thriving at this point of your life. So so for the viewers, can you explain what neuroplasticity and what brain retraining actually is and is not?
Yeah, absolutely. So neuroplasticity was something that I ignored doing for years because I didn't believe that my condition had anything to do with my brain. I had lab tests to prove pathogens, toxins, etc., like many of you listening. But brain retraining is about helping your brain to reinterpret the signals in the body, going from threat to safety. So you're targeting the limbic system of the brain, and there are exercises specifically to shift the biochemistry in the body. So it's not about necessarily just thinking differently. It's literally about targeting the limbic system that's sending messages to your hypothalamus, that's sending a whole host of biochemical cocktails through the body. And you do that through pattern interrupting fear-based thoughts. You do that through creating a different emotional state, and you do this through repetition daily. So it's about rerouting this constant underlying fear response that many of you are stuck in the body, by using the limbic system to create a new association to what you're thinking and feeling. And I know that when you're feeling suffering like I was, that you tend to interpret everything as a threat. Like, oh my gosh, my body is feeling this way that doesn't feel safe. And so it's a little bit of counterintuitive to, even though the body isn't feeling safe, I am looking at this beautiful bird outside the door and I'm appreciating its beauty. And in that moment, I'm able to send a different biochemical cocktail through the body to start shifting the autonomic nervous system from threat to safety, which is something that has to happen, especially if you have that trifecta that Talia was just talking about. So there are mental rehearsal exercises targeting the limbic system to shift the actual biochemistry in the body. So you are self-regulating your body, even though you have a real physical condition, through your own consciousness, through your own mindset.
And one of the other things you have on there, which I think is very important, is all of the vagus nerve training. That is something that we are all told that we need to do in the Flox community, or even if you have mast cell. And your program definitely puts the most emphasis on it with eye yoga and stuff like that. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Like, I too fought it when I was told to take one of these programs. I was like, okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to be unfloxed and I'm going to get out of the hospital bed. But that's not what they were meaning when they were telling me. But it's like when you're so physically ill and you hear, oh, let's do brain retraining, you're like, okay, but there actually is there actually not some truth, there is truth to it. And I think part of the thing for folks that do take brain retraining is that they have to find the right program. And I think there's a lot of people, like when they reached out to me and saying, oh, I took this program, and I'd always failed. So maybe you can just talk a little about that, like why why people may not be successful in these programs, because they feel like they're doing something wrong because,
Yeah.
oh, Joe over here is back in walking and feeling great in 6 months, and I feel exactly the same. So
Yeah.
that was a question that was asked to me too, like in the 11th hour, like, what would I be doing to not move this forward or make this effective for me, this program?
Yeah, good question. So, first of all, I want to touch on the fact that you did mention that the vagus nerve and the vagus nerve toning is part of it. So, it's not just the brain. And some people are doing these programs that are just focusing on the brain, and yet the body signaling via the vagus nerve, via various other mind body connections, is still stuck in a stress response, meaning someone can do creative visualizations, that is brain retraining, or mental redirect, but their body is braced. Their body is stuck in a fear response. Their body is still ignoring their needs and ignoring their truth. And so, in order to truly turn off the signal in the autonomic nervous system of threat, which is the whole goal here, you guys, even if you've been Floxed, you have Lyme, you have mold, there's a motherboard inside of your body, your autonomic nervous system, and it needs to move from a sense of threat, even if the threat was sensing the toxins or the pathogens, into safety, meaning even though I have some imperfections in my body, I am generally okay in this moment. In order to do that, that is a brain and a body process. And so a lot of times people do programs that they don't hit both of those aspects very well. Or maybe they are doing a program with vagus nerve toning and brain retraining, but the way that they're doing it is full of stress, meaning it's like one more stressful thing, like, oh, I've got to do my practices today so I can heal. And that drive behind doing the practices, the why, is actually stress-based too. So it's more of like this perfectionism. We see people who are perfectionistic, type A to doaholics, that have a harder time healing than those that have more of a type B personality, where they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this exercise because it feels supportive to my body. And they're not worried about how perfect it was or how many they did. They tend to be able to shift from that threat to safety mode easier. So really it's about having, like, maybe you're doing these practices, but how safe and supportive and at ease and relaxed you genuinely feel despite doing the program. And that will usually let you know. A lot of people will be like, yeah, I'm doing this program every day, but it's not translating into their body. It's almost like it's something they're doing but not believing. There needs to be an absolute moment, like I said, of looking out the window and seeing that beautiful bird and truly loving and appreciating that moment, not just doing this exercise of redirect because, oh, I need to redirect away from these painful symptoms and look at this bird and try to like see something differently. It's like a true moment of presence in and what that does is it causes the body to get a true perception that you're feeling okay in this moment versus it being an exercise. So one attempt is more mental and one is more like heart-based, holistic, emotional shifting. And those people tend to be the ones that are able to walk out of this easier than the more mental-based brain retrainers.
And so do you have tips for people that are that type A personality? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that are Floxed that are that type A
Oh,
personality.
yeah.
And that's probably why they're struggling, is because,
Yeah.
I got to do it from 1 to 1:15 every day. And I have to get it, it's like, I confess, I was a little bit like that too. But now it's just like, let it go and do it at your own pace, because I realized me trying to go faster does nothing. It doesn't make me heal faster. I think it makes me heal slower. It just put too much pressure on myself. So,
well, I would say two things: that understanding the science behind what might be happening, in addition to just being Floxed or having Lyme and mold, understanding the science of the cell danger response. So this is helpful because you realize, like, oh, on a cellular level, and this is coined by Dr. Robert Navio, so you can look him up, but understanding that on a cellular level, you are stuck in a type of vigilant protection response. And that is why the system isn't coming back into balance. And so just knowing that this isn't just in your head, it's literally physiological, and having the science for those really type A, smart, intelligent types, they need to understand scientifically why it makes sense to do these very simple practices of presence that are slow and boring and don't seem like they're doing anything. So the second piece is that kind of person needs to do a lot more of a somatic embodiment approach, not just brain retraining, meaning they need to learn how to deeply get in their body and find pleasure and find comfort and to feel their needs and to not be rushing, to be attending, to be nourishing. That is the approach of the type A person to shift out of cell danger response, to shift the mitochondrial function, to optimize what is there. Even if there's been actual damage, you can optimize through so many different, the human body is amazing. And I know a lot of you feel like, well, I'm too poisoned. It's not the case. Like we've worked with so many people who have been floxed that have optimized their body function through all sorts of other ways by getting out of that fear-based response so that the autonomic nervous system is doing everything it can to return to normal function, even with some of those toxins still in the body. But it requires deep presence, deep emotional reset. And that is not a mental thing. That is it's an embodiment practice. So.
Yeah. One of the things I do is I run a global support group for people that are floxed, and some of the things we talk about on a monthly basis is like, you feel a pain somewhere in your body and you're like, oh my God, my arm, I need to go to the hospital. Like, what is it? You just start spiraling.
Yeah.
And I think, that's keeping us at the bottom of the ladder, in your program. I love the ladder concept, but it's keeping us down there. Every little thing that we feel, we're panicking. And I think that's where people are struggling. Like, how do I get out of that panic? And even for me, when I try to talk to people, like, calm down, breathe. No, you don't understand. And then it was my arm. And then yesterday it was my back. And I know, because I was there too. You know what I mean? It's very hard to like break that cycle of, and the thing is like when you're so bad, you're afraid that when you feel a new symptom, you're going to be worse. You're like, I'm already bedbound. If I get worse, this is going to be the end of it. And that's like, this is the stuff that people are panicking about. And that's how you know that some brain retraining needs to happen to stop that, or to calm it down or whatever is the right.
What you're describing is what I often refer to as there's the first reaction and the second reaction. The first reaction, you were floxed. You took a medication that caused a type of toxicity to run through the body. Yes, that is not something that's in your head. That is something that happened to your body, and now your body has a type of getting jammed up, and it needs to come out of it. And you have a lot of memories of what that's like. And so every new symptom, you're thinking it's the same as that first reaction of being floxed. The second reaction is what you have control over. And that is your reaction to your symptoms, your reaction to the experience, your reaction to the new development of the new pain in the elbow. And that second reaction is how you pull out of the situation. And you pull out of it by reinterpreting what you're experiencing through a lens of safety, acceptance, allowance, trust, and doing your best to biohack your limbic response and have present moment embodiment. So the person that is, the Chicken Little, the sky is falling, because it really did at one point. And I know I was there. You went through massive trauma and you probably are still stuck in trauma. But every time you keep reacting of, oh no, you are re-traumatizing yourself. You're literally staying in the loop of the cell danger response, the same loop that caused the mitochondria shutdown and lockdown of the body. You have to unattach from that trauma response. And again, it's very counterintuitive to just allow, my shoulder hurts today. End of the story. Oh, that's a new pain in my elbow today. Interesting. What am I going to do today that's nourishing myself? You can't undo the Floxed thing. You can repattern your second response to it.
Yeah, I seriously cannot tell you how much that, the way you just described it, the second response, that is what has been helping me lately. Like, oh, now I have a pain in my head. okay, tomorrow I'm going to have a pain in my elbow. Like, calm down. You know what I mean? Like that in and of itself, it seems so obvious. Like, but to take a program and you're like, well, why couldn't I figure that out myself? I don't know. You just need to hear someone like you say it. I don't
I
know.
know. I couldn't tell myself that for a decade. It took me a while too, and now I teach
Yeah.
it, so I get it.
Yeah. I wanted to know if you had any thoughts, because I have thoughts, because I've taken multiple programs, on what sets your program apart from others.
Yeah.
Because I'll give my opinion, but what do you
Yeah.
think sets your program apart?
So I'm a physical therapist by trade, which means that I was trained to think about a certain sequence of helping somebody heal. Meaning, let's say you have a shoulder injury. I know that there are multiple different exercises and stages of healing. So that's the way I think. And when it came to chronic illness in the nervous system, I started to think in terms of a protocol versus a one trick wonder, which is what a lot of people out there are doing. Like they found their one thing, oh, the brain retraining or the vagus nerve exercise or this trauma release exercise. And then they preach the one trick wonder that worked for them and versus a sequence and a full protocol. I understand that there isn't a one size fits all approach. And usually a multifaceted protocol is going to hit more of the masses than a one trick wonder. So Primal Trust is a multifaceted protocol. It's very sequential, and it was created through testing literally about 1,000 people of what worked best as far as what exercise first, then when do I talk about trauma, when would I talk about living your true self values, when does brain retraining come in, basically the difference between when do I target the nervous system, when do I target psychology, when do I target living, it's all different. And I created a full roadmap to take you through that sequence. So Primal Trust is multifaceted. It's a lot, but it's meant to be a journey where I'm just walking you through step by step every day. So you'll know on, week 4, that's the week where you're working on brain retraining. In later on, you'll be working on trauma repatterning. So I'm not leaving it up to you to figure that out. I'm just asking people to, listen to the lessons in order. And then I walk you through the process that is a multi-month journey. It's not a quick fix overnight. But that's the truth of it. I mean, if you're looking for a quick fix, there's many people that will promise that. And that's just that's not how it usually works for people.
Yeah, I find this the sequential patterning very helpful too, in the way that it's organized. You like unlock this little piece of your brain, then you unlock the next one and the next one. And for us type A personalities, I think you accommodate us very well by saying this should take 2 weeks. Like if you're finishing a day, there's something wrong, like you go slow. And I'm going to give you a toolkit. I'm going to give you 40 things, but you pick 2 or 3. Okay, overachievers, you just need to pick 2 or 3, because that would be me. I would try to do all 20 in your little toolkit. But I mean, stuff like that has been very helpful. So I feel like, those have been very important. The Vegas exercises, I've been complaining about my eyes and stuff like that. So doing the exercises and feeling like I'm gonna pass out, but it has obviously gotten better over time. And the other thing that I think is so important is, in your program, you talk about the ladder, like the bottom of the ladder, the dorsal, what do you call it? The dorsal
vagal.
Right, which is, I'm screwed phase. Like I'm in really bad shape here. Then the middle is like, and then the top is where you ideally want to be, right? And you say you can't get to the top of the ladder without climbing the whole thing, going through it. And there's so many other programs that try to get you to like ignore that middle of the ladder and ignore the trauma. And this one is like, no, you need to lean into it. You need to feel it, and it's going to feel uncomfortable, but sorry, that's how you're going to get better. You're very direct and honest. And I think that way has been helping me heal more, because you're like, you got to face this stuff head on and not, let me think of something else right now and distract my mind, because it's going to come back. In an hour or a day or two. It's not really like healing. So I mean, those are some of my favorite things from your program. Go through the ladder. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
And for people listening, we don't go right into trauma. We get there later. You work on rebuilding your capacity. In fact, I don't ask you to like go into your trauma memories. That's not what it means either. So what she's describing is we build capacity through vagus nerve toning and brain retraining to feel the feels. Life will bring up your trauma patterns, your relationships, your interaction with your doctors and your children. It'll bring up the feeling of being a people pleaser, the feeling of wanting control, or the feeling of wanting to run away, the feeling of not wanting to be seen. So those are the kind of trauma patterns that eventually we confront and we learn how to respond differently with, but only after we have built capacity in the nervous system to do so, because it's actually these trauma patterns that were the foundation of our nervous system getting stuck in that cell danger response, in that place where the body couldn't process the toxins fully, the Lyme, the things like that. So a lot of people who have a really healthy set point in their nervous system, even if they have some of the genetic markers for, taking, for getting Floxed or Lyme or mold, they tend to move through it quicker. So we know it's not just about the antibiotic. It's not just about the Lyme. It's not just about the mold, because people with similar genetics don't always tank the same way. It's a lot of epigenetic switches that have to do with the neurobiological development of our nervous system and how we tend to respond to stress. So we do get into trauma, but not in like a typical sense where I'm not asking you to like go into any memories or anything like that. So I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you have your 40-day Regulate launch coming up. Can you talk about that? But also just talk about like how this program works. Like we do the self-paced training. There's your question and answers. There's daily classes. There's so much stuff involved in this program. So sorry, I'm combining two questions.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do both.
Yeah.
So Primal Trust is a platform. I created the platform that I needed when I was sick, which means I've created a course that's online that you take on your own, and it's very sequential. You don't have to worry about figuring it out. There's a workbook that walks you through the whole thing. But I also wanted to have live daily classes. So you could jump on Zoom live and you can attend classes with people who are just like you, with mentors from my team and myself, teaching and helping answer questions and helping you to understand how to implement the material and to practice together so you're not doing it alone. And we also have study groups where you can go through the program with your peers. Pretty soon, we're actually going to have all of our study groups led by an actual Primal Trust guide. So that's a whole new development that'll be coming out in April. So it's a home program. It's a live daily Zoom thing if you want. There's no extra charge. It's a membership model. It's $96 a month. It includes everything. So all of the courses, the live classes, the study groups, all the materials. And you can, come and go at any time. You can come for a month or two and then practice and come back. And so I also am launching a brand new program on February 2nd that is for those who are super debilitated or really sick, or they are super busy, because Primal Trust is a pretty comprehensive process. And so many of you have said, Dr. Kat, I have 5 minutes a day and I want you to tell me exactly what to do, because I don't even have time to like log in and figure it out. I'm like, okay. So I created a 40-day email program where I am sending direct to your inbox every day a short video from me. It's 4 to 7 minutes, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do that day, the main principles to think about, and a short 2 to 3 minute exercise that you can practice a couple times a day. So you don't have to think. It's literally just open your inbox. It's right there, and it will walk you through the basic principles of our level 1 program in 40 days. And then when you feel like, okay, yeah, I can like take a deeper dive now, then you could go in and do the full comprehensive program. But again, it's all part of the membership, not an extra fee, and just meant to really handhold you through that process of nervous system regulation.
That's probably actually a really good place for many people to start. It's the 40-day.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was created to be the bridge. Like just start with the 40-day and then move into the full program from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we talked about so much. What is the most important thing you want viewers to take away from watching this in regards to brain retraining in your program?
I would say the most important thing to take away is that your conscious ability to biohack your autonomic nervous system is an incredible capacity that we are not taught in our medical model. Our empowered ability to shift literally our biology within moments and over time, to shift out of massive diseases and illnesses. It's incredible. What I have seen happen with people doing this kind of work of regulating their nervous system, shifting their response to their trauma patterns, showing up differently. I've seen people completely heal of Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, all sorts of autoimmune and curable things. Of course, the Lyme and the mold and mast cell and all of that. We've got, hundreds and hundreds of cases of those healing. Thousands at this point. But we tend to think that we are too sick to heal, that we are different and we are special. No, you don't understand, because I have all of these things and I have these genetics and I had this. It's not special. There are thousands of people just like you who have a page full of diagnoses and genetics that seem poor. And I have watched them crawl out of this hell by deeply coming into their own presence, into their own body, and perceiving life differently and biohacking this response. Again, this doesn't mean this was all in your head. This means that you are using your mental capacity, your emotional capacity, your consciousness to override what your physiology has done. So in other words, it's about you being more powerful than the toxin, than the pathogen, than your epigenetic switches. You are that powerful. And so that's what I would say.
Yeah. I usually close out my show. I'm not closing it out. It's just I want to be very cognizant of how many people have questions for you, because I've received so many emails. Yeah. I always close it out with a message of hope that you could give to the viewers, that they can actually get out of this mess and recover. It's kind of like what you just said, but do you have anything to add to that? Like, especially for people that have been sick for a really long time. I think that's the people that need the most hope, because I was very hopeful when I first got sick and started losing hope the longer that that I was like this. So,
good question. So when you've been sick for a long time, that's a pattern. It's a pattern in your biochemistry. It's a pattern in your brain, a pattern in your autonomic nervous system, a pattern of digestive function, hormone function, mitochondria function. In other words, it's all just patterns. And we tend to live the same day, repeating the same pattern. I have seen people sick for 20, 30, 40 years do our program and break the pattern by doing things a little differently, by doing our program, by doing others' programs, and every single day repetitively sending a different signal to their brain and their autonomic nervous system by using these tools and practices. When you break that pattern every single day, over time, your biology can't help but shift. How much will it come out of the illness? Who knows? That's the magical mystery. Many people completely recover. A lot of people, at the very least, if they're doing this consistently, they feel a heck of a lot better. I can promise that by doing nervous system work and emotional processing and somatic work, you will shift your patterns in your biochemistry. Your biology will shift to at least some degree. It's just science. It's just the science. So I would say that there is always hope in changing your patterns. You can change your pattern today, how you think, how you feel, how you're reacting, how you're responding. That is within your control. It is always within your control to start changing your patterns. And when you link that day by day by day, you will slowly crawl out of the situation that you're in.
And so I think what you're saying is, like, you're saying you're changing your patterns to heal, but you're the one that also created these patterns in the first place. You just didn't realize it. So now you have to realize it, right? And undo it. Is that basically?
Yes. And I would say that, remember the first reaction. It might have been the Lyme, the mold, the getting Floxed. That may have assisted in creating a pattern in your body.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't necessarily choose that. That might have resulted in a type of protection pattern.
Right.
But how you were raised, how you were taught to respond to intense things to trauma is a pattern that you will probably have to break. The second reaction is the pattern that you can break. And that is, what I'm saying. So I don't want to make people think, oh, it's your fault that you created the pattern of like all the pain. No, it's the response to the pain. That's the pattern that you can break.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a better way to say
Yeah.
it. We created the response in the first place, so we have to because I'm like, how did my brain get like this in the first place? You know what I mean? Now I have to somehow undo it. But yeah. Thank you for that. If you don't have anything to add, I'm gonna let all these people come in and ask questions.
Great.
If you don't have anything else. No? Okay.
Go ahead.
Yep. I didn't know Dr. Cat also took Cipro.
Yeah, people don't usually ask me, but yes, that was a big part of my story.
What is that? I think the scary spiral part is when you see yourself losing tissue and not knowing when it will stop. There's like a teeny comment up there. I don't know if you see it.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Again, this is that reaction that, yes, there's a pattern that has gotten put in place because of the medication or whatever, the illness. It is, and you're thinking, oh, that is just going to continue. The fear is not helpful for that pattern, reversing. Like, yes, that might be what's happening right now. That might be the train that got, that's going right now until you interrupt with the way that you're responding so that the body can get a different signal, because it got a signal of massive danger when you got floxed. That whole cell danger response that I described just went haywire. You have to use your consciousness to interrupt that train that's going down the that has taken off into the danger response.
Yeah. And thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, another video recently, Dr. Cat was talking about cranial. Yep, that's a big one for us. Cervical instability. Also because she has it. Can you say a few sentences about this relationship?
Yes, gosh, there's such an interplay, so I see people, especially with the mast cell, what's going to happen is your ligamentous integrity is going to lose some of its ability to be steady. And that's what happened with me and with many people in my community. But when you are doing this work of nervous system regulation, it does help to stabilize the mast cell. It helps with the ligamentous integrity. And there are other things that I've done. I mean, part of nervous system work is spinal alignment. So being a physical therapist, I've done a lot of that. And I will say that even watching like your blood sugars, things like that have a lot to do with your ligamentous integrity. But it is a multifactorial thing. And the nervous system work absolutely affects our alignment of our spine. It affects the way that our soft tissues, our fascia hold things. So, a lot of people, again, feel like a victim of the CCI, the cranial cervical instability. I've seen so many people become stable who, by all means had massive issues with that for years through during this kind of work. It's all interrelated. It's not like you're like randomly cursed with all of these things: the Lyme, the mold, the cranial cervical instability, the mast cell, the being floxed, the mitochondrial dysfunction. It's all interrelated, or you wouldn't see these things all together, which means it's a whole nervous system that's in distress. And these are some of the outcomes of that distress. So again, same approach. And adding a little bit of, in addition to primal trust, I would say spinal alignment, finding a good person to work with you on that. I love Dr. Brian Hutchinson in Fort Myers, Florida. That's who I saw to help with my cranial cervical instability. That would be a few things I'd say about that.
Being gaslit for so long is a big part of the struggle, especially when I didn't know what was even happening. Yes, that's why I brought that up.
Totally.
I've been finding similarities between Buddhism and detaching from your symptoms.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That practice has been helpful for a lot of people. It's a similar mindset. Mm-hmm. Can you heal with brain retraining if you live in a moldy home? I did. I had to live in mold. I moved out of mold just a few years ago, but when I was doing all of this work, I wasn't able to afford to leave. So we cleaned up the house as best we could. We got a really good air purifier, and I retrained like crazy. So did I feel better once I left mold? Yes. But did I get my life back while living in it? Yes. How long in the program do people start seeing change? It depends, honestly, on the state of your nervous system, how deeply entrenched in the cell danger response you are. So if you go and look into that research, there's different stages of the cell danger response. If you're deeply in it, I would say plan on at least 6 months. If you're someone who's only like mildly dysregulated, you can see changes in a few days to a few weeks.
And at the beginning of your program, don't you have like a questionnaire to see where you are in the cell danger response?
Yeah.
I find out if you just ask your spirit guides to take the pain away, they do.
Thank you.
That's Sibylle. She's a very big fluoroquinolone toxicity advocate in Germany. So
Oh, very cool.
she's been looking forward to this.
Oh, good.
I don't know if there's any more questions.
Well, I really appreciated the time and to be able to share that part of my story. Like I said, I didn't know the whole truth about Cipro for years myself. Like they just never pointed that as part of it until a doctor said, "Did everything change after you took Cipro?" I'm like, "Yes, actually."
Yeah. I think what really gets me is like, I felt like my life was going so great and I was in a good place. And then the bomb went off in my body when I took Cipro. And then now all of a sudden it's talking about like, it's like looking back to your childhood and how you were raised and never consciously thought about those things that they impacted me until like programs like this is like, I never think about those things. They don't bother me.
Right.
But somehow subconsciously, what is that book called? The Body Keeps the Score, right? It actually does, even if you don't realize it. So, and your program does a really good job of making sure you realize what your body is saying to you and trying to pay attention to it. So, and heal, obviously. So you've had, it says 15,000 people?
Yeah, well, actually almost 20,000 now we've taken through to update our website. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. I never thought this would be the result of all of those years. For years, I was like, why am I so cursed? Why am I sick for so long? It was over a decade, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that time to be able to help others. And now I understand, I had to go, it was my own training process to be able to share what I am today. So.
Yeah. And I was telling you, like, when I don't know if it was backstage or if I said it out here, like you just seem so normal when I was like watching, not that other people aren't normal, but in some of the things I felt like you were talking to me. And then now that I know you took Cipro and you have all the same things that I have, I'm like, that's probably why I felt like you were talking to me, even though you weren't, you're talking to people like us. So
we are a certain archetype. We all kind of get each other. We're wired similarly. We're wired, and we do end up having that wiring that gets us stuck into that cell danger response, and unfortunately. So
also want to add that I'm in Primal Trust now and love it.
Oh, cool.
I do too. So I'm a big advocate for Primal Trust. So it's helped me the most. And I keep saying to everybody, especially since I have mast cell, it's not a medication. It's not a supplement, guys. It's the best thing if you have mast cell.
It really is.
Take anything.
It really is. Yeah. Anyone with mast cell needs to be doing nervous system work, like hands down. Ground zero. That is, they are signaling molecules. Their mast cells are the ones like signaling like danger, danger, danger. They need to get a different second reaction. You have to retrain that second reaction for the mast cell. So
and you know who told me about all this first? I just saw him on your website, Dr. Nathan.
Oh, he did.
He's the one that started all this with the brain retraining. I was like, what?
Yeah. He's been one of my biggest supporters.
Yeah. So if we don't have any other questions, I'll just say thank you for your time today. And I hope that people go to Primal Trust and check it out. And is there like a free trial or anything that people could see for like a
So,
couple days?
what I have is there's on my website under the free resources, I have a book called How Healing Happens. And I should have put that in the show notes, but it's 130 pages. So it's like a mini under free resources, free ebooks. Yep. It's like a mini free program and you can download it. So if you go scroll down there, keep going right there, How Healing Happens. That book, it has exercises. It has the signs and cell danger response. It's going to like really give you a good intro of all the things I teach and, and share. And if it resonates, it might make more sense to join the membership, but it's a great way to get started. Also my Instagram, I have tons of free content on Instagram, but there's a few different, I have a Lyme course that's free, a brain retraining vagus nerve course under the free resources. That would be the best way to get started for free.
Yeah. And in your program, you have so much stuff, like so much stuff. So this is good that you have this. So people, like I've done it before, committed to a program and I paid for it. It's like, I don't know if this is the right one for me. So people can go and check that out. And then if it, like you said, if it resonates, sign up for Primal Trust. So yeah. So thank you for your time, Dr. Kat. I really appreciate it. I know how busy you are. Thank you for making a difference in my life. I get to say that to you personally. You have. And like I said, this is not my first brain retraining program, but somehow a light switch is turned on and I feel things changing in me. And people that are watching me are saying that they're seeing changes in me too. And I'm thinking, it's got to be this. So I just want to say thank you so much. And thank you for giving all of us hope that are watching, because there's many, many people that are Floxed right now that have almost no hope. So having shows like this gives them that little oomph to keep going. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. All right, everyone, that wraps up my show for brain retraining and neuroplasticity, and I will see you all next month. Thank you.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful: The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives, by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com. a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.